But let's bring you some more stories now. Former President John Dramani Mahama has written an open letter to President Akufo-Addo indicating his displeasure over what he describes as the growing criminalization of speech and journalism in the country. The ex-president's letter comes on the back of the arrest and detention of Accra FM's Governor Bobi Ansah on Thursday night. The journalist, who was picked up on charges of publication of false news, has since been granted 50,000 bail by the Kaneshie Circuit Court. However, reacting to the claims in the said letter that we're talking about, the former President John Dramani Mahama stated the following, quote, "This is a dangerous blueprint you are fashioning for our dear nation, and it must not be encouraged. Your actions as president have totally discredited your self-acquired accolade as a human rights lawyer and activist. Ghana has long emerged from the unfortunate past where journalists were cowed by incarceration and brutalization," unquote. These are excerpts of the statement or the letter that is coming through from the former President John Dramani Mahama. Meanwhile, a Class Media Group itself, operators of the Accra-based radio station, has issued a statement on this matter, saying that the arrest of Bobi is a blot on Ghana's democratic credentials. Joining us via Zoom right now is Francis Xavier Soso. He's a human rights lawyer and also MP for Medina. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us. First of all, why is the leadership of the NDC, and by extension I'm talking about the former president, concerned about what you describe as the growing attacks on journalists across the country?
Well, let me say that are extremely worried because what is currently happening would erode all the gains that Ghana has made when it comes to protection of journalists, when it comes to media freedom, and when it comes to free speech. Indeed, when you look at the freedom map, gradually, Ghana is falling. And when you look at the U.S. country report on Ghana, as far as protection of journalists, protection of free speech, issues of human rights violation is concerned, clearly Ghana is gradually becoming a state that could be described as anti-media and anti-free speech. And I don't think that this would augur well for the country. And that is why, as a responsible opposition party, we should be worried about these current trends.
The claim is that you are exaggerating matters when you talk about the fact that there's an attack on media in Ghana. In the last month alone, we've just had 3 cases. Is that too much in your estimation as a political party?
Absolutely, yes. And let's no one make a mistake. When it comes to fundamental rights, it's not about how many media men have been attacked. It is the values and the principles underlining the protection of those rights that counts. For example, when you arrest a media man who is just exposing what he verily believes to be fraudulent, and you create a charge, under the pretext of publication of false information or false news. Clearly, that is not something we should allow, to just go under the carpet. Besides, when you take away media freedom, then our fundamental right to hold government accountable will be gone. And we cannot create a state where we claim to be democratic, and yet in practice we are despots, and we are not willing to give ourselves or allow ourselves to be held accountable, particularly by people in media space. And that is why we are so worried. I don't think that we are exaggerating this, and no one should ever think that this is being exaggerated. And wait until policemen arrest your media men, or wait until policemen arrest your reporters only on the allegation that they published a news which was false. And I am very worried, particularly about the fact that we are gradually reintroducing criminal libel under the pretext of arresting and charging people for false publication.
The concern is that you, the political class, are pretending over this matter. I mean, obviously, if the blame is to be laid squarely at someone's doorsteps, it should be by far all of the political parties in Ghana, and not just a certain regime. The claim is that even the NDC has demonstrated some elements of attack or abuse on journalists. We may be talking about this government now, but the claim is that we need a concerted effort from across the divide. How about that concern as well?
Well, I agree that we need a concerted effort, but trust me, these claims are the reasons why Ghana is not changing. They are the reasons why Ghana is not developing, and they are the reasons why you have a sitting government that can call the bluff of journalists and continue to arrest, brutalize, and subject, citizens to needless detentions on grounds that they are publishing false news. This is the regime that is under scrutiny. The question is that what they are doing today, is it right? If it was wrong in the past, it cannot be right today. So please, it's important for us to draw lessons from what happened in the past. But we cannot use that as a basis of justifying what happened today and simply say, well, it's just one of those political stuff. And I think that because in Ghana, when there are challenges, instead of us tackling it head on and dealing with them, we quickly begin to shift blames on political lines. And that is why we will never get, solutions. And anything you shift, blames on based on political lines, you definitely are not going to have any, realistic solution to that. And I think that we must move away and depart from that regime where anytime there is an issue that we need to deal with, we are doing comparison and using those comparisons to justify, the wrong of today. So I completely dismiss the whole idea that, both political parties could be blamed because in the past there were some journalists that were handled under the regime of the NDC.
But so I'm stating
it's happening under MPP.
I guess I'm just stating the obvious. I guess I'm just stating the obvious. That's a fact, right? If you can hear me, I'm just trying to say that I'm stating the obvious.
I would say that is a fact that must be dismissed with all the content that it deserves. Under this administration, the total number of journalists who have been subjected to brutal and humanizing treatments, you can start from Ahmed Swale. What is the status of the investigation into Ahmed Swale's death? There were people who were seen on TV, heard on radio, saying that they had knowledge about the death of that journalist. Where is their state? You saw what happened and what the Media Foundation for West Africa said when it came to
well, it appears that we're having some challenges there. We'll try and rectify the lines and reconnect to Francis Xavier. So he's Member of Parliament for Medina and also a human rights lawyer, indicating to us why he believes a lot more needs to be done by this government to check the growing spate of attacks on media persons here in the country. Let's try and see if we can re-establish the lines there. Francis Xavier, so if you're still on with us, you are a human rights lawyer as well. We know that obviously you are concerned about this, but what's interesting is that you're a member of parliament, so you have some avenues open to you to seek redress. What in your personal capacity will you be doing to check this growing spate of attacks? What will you be doing?
I would say that in the first place, there is a statement that is going to be made on the floor of Parliament, and there are urgent questions that we are filing to ask the Minister of the Attorney General, as well as the Minister of Information, what the State Ministry is taking to deal with this issue. But since this thing began, I have been considering a private member's bill to amend those provisions to reflect the intent of our constitution. I think the provision on publication of false news is being used as an excuse to really perpetrate needless attacks on journalists. And there must be the need for us to look at that law critically and possibly review that law so that nobody can take advantage of that law to continue to disturb our hardworking journalists.
In as much as we're talking about the rights of journalists, there's obviously the aspect of responsibility. That should also be of concern to you, isn't it? We lost Francis Xavier Sosu there, but
even though it is
right. I was asking the question about the responsibility aspect, the fact that journalists also ought to be ethical. If you could just, you were making a point there on that.
Absolutely. I said that the right to freedom of expression is not an absolute one. And even for the work of a journalist, you don't have an absolute space to be very scandalous and to be very, very, non-factual and so on and so forth. But that is the reason why we have, civil libel actions. There are many journalists in this country who have actually been sent to court, and there is an obligation to retract and apologize when you publish a story. And I believe that it is only responsible journalists who does that, right? If you're a journalist and you publish a story, your attention is drawn to the story that is false. The obligation then on you will be to retract and apologize. If there is a need for the matter to end up in court, for you to compensate the aggrieved party financially, then the person takes further steps to make that happen. But that should not be read to include the